Good evening. What comes easy won't last long, and what lasts long won't come easy. Welcome to BMC News Live in English, brought to you by Al Hilal Hospital and Medical Centers. I'm Vinod Narayanan, joining you with the daily news updates. Today's headlines. Global crisis affected food prices in Bahrain. Bahrain Civil Defense launched eservices. Muharraq Grand Park opened. Measures against Delta variant work for Omicron 2, WHO stated. A British expert claims to have traced the exact spot of the missing Malaysian flight MH370. News in detail. His Highness Sheikh Nasser congratulates UAE on 50th National Day and praised victorious team's win. Representative of His Majesty the King for Humanitarian Work and Youth Affairs, His Highness Sheikh Nasser bin Hamad Al Khalifa, has extended congratulations to the Emirati leadership and people on the 50th National Day of the United Arab Emirates. His Highness Sheikh Nasser lauded the success of the victorious team in winning the National Day Heritage Rowing Boats Race for a fourth class organized by the Emirates Heritage Club, marking the UAE's Golden Jubilee. His Highness commended the efforts exerted by the Heritage Sport Committee to develop heritage sports in order to achieve the ultimate goal of preserving the authentic Bahraini identity and consolidating the national heritage among the new generations. Bahrain chairs meeting with the UN Under-Secretary General, Bahrain's permanent representative to the United Nations Office and other international organizations in Geneva. Dr. Yusuf Abdul Karim Buchiri chaired the meeting of the permanent ambassadors of the Cooperation Council for the Arab States of the Gulf with the Under-Secretary General of the United Nations for Humanitarian Affairs and Relief Coordinator in Emergencies, Martin Griffiths, in order to review the humanitarian needs for the year 2022 and discuss developments in the region. Global crisis affected food prices in Bahrain. Global crisis including COVID-19 pandemic is responsible for the increase in food prices in Bahrain. Industry, Commerce and Tourism Minister Zayed Al Zayani has said there will be a slight temporary increase in prices of food products due to Bahrain being an imported country and in the light of present sea freight crisis, he said in a reply to a question by MP Dr. Hisham Al-Ashiri. BCICAI's annual international conference started today. The 30th International Conference of the BCICAI with the theme Pathways to Progress began today under the patronage of Zayed Al Zayani, Minister of Industry, Commerce and Tourism. The two-day event at the Crown Plaza Manama will host subject experts, management leaders, film actors and politicians. The purpose of this year's seminar is to raise the awareness of pathways to progress's value in all situations, said BCICAI in a statement. Bahrain joins world nations in the annual observance of the International Day of Disabled Persons. The day aims to promote an understanding of disability issues and mobilize support for the dignity, rights and well-being of persons with disabilities. The theme for IDPD this year is Leadership and Participation of Persons with Disabilities towards an inclusive, accessible and sustainable post-COVID-19 world. The annual observance of the International Day of Disabled Persons was proclaimed in 1992 by United Nations General Assembly's resolution. Bahrain Civil Defense launched e-services. The General Directorate of Civil Defense announced launching a series of services through a national portal, Bahrain.bh. Brigadier Ali Muhammad Ali Houthi, the General Director of Civil Defense, said the move follows the directives of the Minister of Interior and in cooperation with the Information Anti-Government Authority. One of the services allows obtaining a civil defense certificate on protection and fire prevention. The service also allows beneficiaries to check status, print issued certificates, verify the validity of the certificate and safety requirements of buildings. Bahraini women's achievements celebrated. All of Bahrain came together to celebrate the achievements of the women, marking Women's Day and the 20th anniversary of the Supreme Council for Women, brushing aside fears of the spread of the possible vaccine-resistant Omicron variant in the Middle East. The celebration this year was themed Bahraini Women in the National Development, a journey of progress in a dedicated nation. In a message, Her Royal Highness Princess Sabika bint Ibrahim Al Khalifa, wife of His Majesty the King and Supreme Council for Women, saluted Bahraini women and hailed their marked contribution and dedication, thanking the government for its unwavering support to the Council. Muharraq Grand Park opened. Bahrain's biggest garden in Muharraq opened its gates to the public after being closed for 15 years. His Royal Highness Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa, Crown Prince and Prime Minister, Deputy Prime Minister Sheikh Mohammed bin Mubarak Al Khalifa to reopen the landmark Muharraq Garden. The national holidays, the park, also the largest in the kingdom, is opening doors after years of works for reviving it. The project forms part of a comprehensive development process led by His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa and His Royal Highness Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa, the Crown Prince and Prime Minister, to enhance the green area and tourism infrastructure in the kingdom. Today's COVID updates. COVID updates brought to you by Al Hilal Hospital and Medical Centers. In-person learning at a private school suspended until December 12. In-person learning has been suspended at a private school from yesterday until December 12 after discovering cases of novel coronavirus. The Ministry of Education announced that students will switch to remote learning during the above-mentioned period. In a statement, the Ministry of Education said that in-person learning would resume after the winter holidays as per the calendar of the school. Sports Cardiology Conference kicks off. The Sports Cardiology Conference kicked off yesterday under the patronage of Representative of His Majesty, the King for Humanitarian Work and Youth Affairs, His Highness Sheikh Nasser bin Hamad Al Khalifa, and in the presence of His Highness Sheikh Khalid bin Hamad Al Khalifa, the first Deputy Chairman of the Supreme Council for Youth and Sport, President of the General Sport Authority, and President of Bahrain Olympic Committee. The event, which is being held from December 2 to 4, is organized by the Ministry of Health and Sheikh Mohammed bin Khalifa bin Salman Al Khalifa Specialist Cardiac Center in cooperation with Supreme Council for Youth and Sports. Closure of 2 avenues in Muharraq announced. The construction works on Sheikh Isa Avenue and Sheikh Abdullah Avenue junction in Muharraq necessitate the closure of the avenues. Full closure of Sheikh Isa Avenue between Road 833 and Sheikh Abdullah Avenue, and the traffic movement will be diverted to Road 833. Full closure of Sheikh Abdullah Avenue between Sheikh Mohammed Avenue and Sheikh Isa Avenue, and the traffic movement will be diverted to Sheikh Mohammed Avenue. The closure will be effective on Saturday from 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. The Omicron variant of the COVID-19, deemed highly contagious and capable of undergoing frequent mutations, has now made its way to many countries. First detected in Southern Africa, the heavily mutated Omicron variant is setting alarm bells across nations and spreading at a rapid speed, forcing countries to impose mobility and travel restrictions. The Health Ministry of India yesterday said India has reported 2 cases of the new variant, both Middle-East men from Karnataka. All the primary and secondary contacts of the people were being traced and will be identified soon, government officials said at a briefing. Apart from India, Omicron has spread to 29 other countries, taking the total count of Omicron detected countries to 30. The first confirmed case of the COVID-19 Omicron variant in the United States has been detected in a person in California. Concerns over the Omicron variant seems to have jacked up the demand for vaccination in Kerala. Health Minister Veena George said the number of people turning up for vaccination has increased amid reports of the new COVID-19 variant. The drive is meant to trace those who haven't yet taken the first dose and get them vaccinated. Also, steps will be taken to complete the second dose for those who took the first jab, said George. She said those refusing to get vaccinated on flimsy grounds would be denied free treatment. The state has a stock of 8 lakh doses and has requested more supplies for the special drive, she said. Now, we will be back after a very short break. Welcome back. World's fastest street circuit set for F1 debut in Jeddah. The world's fastest street circuit is ready for the inaugural Saudi Arabian Grand Prix on December 5. The Jeddah Corniche circuit will be the second longest on the 2021 calendar at 6.175 km, just over 800 meters shorter than tabletopper Spa. It will take around 1 meter 27.9 seconds to complete a lap in qualifying trim and 1 meter 33.8 seconds in the 50-lap race, according to simulations. Saudi's Rijal Alma named among world's best tourism villages. The United Nations World Tourism Organization has recognized Rijal Alma in Saudi Arabia's Azure region as one of the best tourism villages in the world. At a ceremony during the organization's General Assembly in Madrid, Spain, Rijal Alma was selected from among 175 nominations from 75 countries. The village is being 45 kilometers west of Alfa in the mountainous Azure region is a unique example of Saudi Arabia's diverse heritage and culture. The village consists of 60 multi-story palaces built on natural stone, clay and wood. The village stands at the heart of ancient trade networks linking Yemen, the Levant, Mecca and Medina. Measures against Delta variant work for Omicron too, WHO stated. World Health Organization officials in the Western Pacific say border closures adopted by some countries may buy time to deal with the Omicron coronavirus variant, but measures put in place and experience gained in dealing with the Delta variant should remain in foundation for fighting the pandemic. While a few regional countries are facing surges, COVID-19 cases and deaths in many others have decreased and plateaued. WHO Regional Director for the Western Pacific, Dr. Takeshi Kasai, told reporters Friday in a virtual news conference. Germany excludes unvaccinated from parts of public life. German Chancellor Angela Merkel said Thursday that people who aren't vaccinated will be excluded from non-essential stores, cultural and recreational venues, and Parliament will consider a general vaccine mandate as part of an effort to curb coronavirus infections that again topped 70,000 newly confirmed cases in a 24-hour period. Speaking after a meeting with federal and state leaders, Merkel said the measures were necessary in light of concerns that hospitals in Germany could become overloaded with people suffering COVID-19 infections, which are more likely to be serious in those who haven't been vaccinated. A British expert claims to have traced the exact spot of the missing flight MH370. Claims could lead to new search for a missing plane that had 239 people on board. A British aerospace engineer claims to have solved one of the great aviation mysteries by using new tracking technology to find Malaysia Airlines flight MH370, which vanished 7 years ago. The new claims could lead to new search for a missing plane that had 239 people on board. Richard Godfrey, a founding member of the MH370 independent group, a panel of experts, said he was very confident that new mapping software had pinpointed the Boeing 777's crash site in the Indian Ocean, 1,200 miles west of Perth. The flight disappeared on March 8, 2014, soon after leaving Kuala Lumpur on a 6-hour overnight flight to Beijing, with 239 people on board. Trackers showed the aircraft mysteriously reversing course and flying south over the Indian Ocean, where it is believed to have run out of fuel and crashed. With that, we come to the end of today's news. Stay tuned for daily news updates in BMC News Live English at 7:30 p.m. every day. I'm Vinod Narayan, signing off from BMC News Live. Good night.